I think, let me first make 3 key points that they might help to answer some of your questions. Number 1, I personally know Muhuri since 1997. Muhuri is the first human rights organizations established and based in coastal region, the town of Mombasa. All the key founders of Muhuri were at the forefront of the fight for not only a new constitution, but the very first act of making sure that we have certain constitutional and legal amendments provisions that are popularly known as IPPG. So therefore, when we speak about and attacking Muhuri as an agent of terrorism, you must be able to have a well-grounded, well-solid, well-found evidence against them. So far up to this moment, there is absolutely no evidence, not even iota of it, has been given to Muhuri or we as human rights organizations. I want to make it clear. You can see we have the Civil Society Reference Group. Civil Society Reference Group is an established agency by civil society organizations as a self-regulatory mechanism. So if there is any civil society organization that is engaging in any unlawful act, and I repeat, any unlawful act, the first point of reference would have been tabling that information, or the government writing to the Civil Society Reference Group and providing that information. And then from there, we can start to act on that. Because we want to be emphatic that we fought very hard for media to be given self-regulatory mechanism. We still stand by that. We believe the same must be accorded civil society. And that's why civil society took initiative of setting up Civil Society Reference Group. Second point, I work for International Center for Policy and Conflict. After the post-election violence, in 2008, 2009, and 2010, ICPC partnered with the Muhuri, and we trained, as ICPC, the human rights monitors of Muhuri. So these are people we know. I have worked with them for many years. That's spanning more than actually 18 years, having worked with the Muhuri personally. I know Hussein Karid, I know Halif in person. So anybody who is associating them, their passion for having a fair democratic Kenya is existing on record. And their officers are above board. If there is any single officer who works in those organizations and is linked to terrorism, the National Intelligence Service and the Military Intelligence Service has all the prerequisite tools and means to be able to identify, isolate, arrest that person, and take that person through a due process of law. That's all what we are saying. You cannot engage in corrective condemnation of communities, individuals, organizations without being able to provide a well-backed evidence on those matters. And finally, I want to say this, that if we want to build a democratic, secure, prosperous, and tolerant Kenya, the national government must accept one thing. You do so by engaging in constructive consensus and consent dialogue, but not returning the country back to Moi-era dictatorial edicts. I think we are not building Kenya. We must be able to bring together everybody. And let me also emphasize one point. Haki Africa and Muhuri are 2 organizations that has a well-elaborate, well-established anti-radicalization and extremism programs at the coastal region. And they have done this not once, not twice. In fact, in the radicalization and extremism program, they partner with both the national government and county governments at the coastal level. They work directly with the communities, helping to sensitize communities about the effects of radicalization, the effects of extremism. In fact, it is through that program that the executive director of Haki Africa, Hussein Karid, was invited by none other than White House to go and participate in the Anti-Radicalization and Extremism Conference, and the second conference which is about to take place in Kenya in June. So at what point then do you call the same person you are working with that is a supporter of terrorism? We as civil society strongly, and I repeat, strongly abhor and condemn any form or act of terrorism. Nothing justifies terrorism. And if there are people who conduct or engage in activities of terrorism, they must be isolated as individuals, taken through the due process of the law. Or what I know Muhuri has been doing, and Haki Africa, is engaging in a systematic documentation of extrajudicial killing that has been taking place. They have been providing and sharing that information, and they have been asking for accountability for those extrajudicial killings. A democratic, free state engages in fair process of suspects. You don't execute them. And that's what civil society we are saying. And somebody has asked, what next? We are not issuing ultimatum to anybody. As civil society, we believe in a dialogue, a constructive, well-informed consensus and consent dialogue. That is what is going to take Kenya forward. Not issuing ultimatums, not threatening, not intimidating, not blackmailing or liquidating organizations. We want to see a free, independent place operating in this country. We do not want to see journalists harassed. We do not want to see human rights defenders harassed. We do not want anybody harassed. We want a free society where people exchange ideas, where people share ideas and all that. However, should the state continue with its intolerant and undemocratic behavior, we as civil society, we are going to continue using constitutionally sanctioned legal mechanisms to deal with that state intolerance and undemocratic means. Already as we are speaking, one avenue you have used is the court. There's ongoing court. 2, we have filed petitions. 3, we have always open dialogue, open space, and even asked for open conversations with the relevant government agencies. And in fact, as we are speaking, Muhuri and Haki Africa has been petitioning government to have a sitting and discuss what the issues the government has. The government has never responded to that. In fact, it's only yesterday when the board, the New Coordination Board, invited them for conversation. And when Muhuri tabled their case and asked the NGO Coordination Board what the accusations were, you'd be surprised. Because they asked, give us evidence that you are agents of terrorism. They did not have it. And that's why in our statement we are saying, it began from saying, linking individuals to be agents of terrorism. Now it has moved from terrorism to tax evasion. Now it has moved from there to something else. So we do not want abuse of state institutions. We do not want it. We do not want a systematic, like for instance, and I can give you this as an example. The government used the commission, it's called Communication Authority, the CAK, to harass, intimidate, and almost literally cripple media in this country. We know for a fact the government is so determined to capture the Judicial Service Commission so that they can take over the judiciary. These are facts. We know the National Assembly and another clique within the Senate has been deployed by the national government in a well-coordinated way to muscle and cripple the devolved system of government. We know this for a fact. And when we say we do not want those kind of acts, we are saying from a point of evidence. And what we are challenging the state to do is to provide a counter evidence on what we are saying. It's simple as that. We are going to remain, we are law-abiding citizens. We are going to operate within the constitutionally established rules. And more importantly, we will continue to reaffirm and reassert the constitutionally guaranteed right of citizens to assemble, associate, express themselves freely without any undue interference. And I think I have dealt with virtually all the questions that were. You raised a question about what is bringing all this. I think we are dealing with a government that has what I can call unparallelable fear. We do a very palpable fear. We do not know what this government is fearing. It's like a government walking, fearing any shadow that is moving. We do not know why. And when you get a government like that, anything that appear to be threatening it in anything else, then it results to that kind of thing. Only a government that operates in fear, only a government that operates like it is illegitimate, that it behaves that way. So we do not want to go into whether that government is legitimate or not. That's a matter determined by court already. We have a government in place, a working government. What we want to do is that government must cultivate legitimacy, trust, and confidence with the citizens and citizens' organizations. As civil society, we are going to remain firm, and we want to assert this. We are going to remain firm. We are going to remain within our core mandate. We are not going to operate outside that. And we are not retreating. That was something we must say. And we know for a fact, in this country, civil society worked hard. It set up a process of getting a new constitution. We have a new constitution. President Uhuru and Deputy Ruto are the first beneficiaries of that constitution. Civil society has created massive jobs in this country. Today, you are having so many dependents of employees of Muhuri who cannot even access basic things because of the suspension of their account. We have so many civil society that are providing critical services in this country. We have civil society organizations that are participating in key public policy discourses. Today, as we seated here, I've just seen an email written to us inviting us to go and participate in the devolution policy framework, to go and input it and inform it. So why would you be inviting us on one hand, and on the other side you are bastardizing and liquidating us? It's illogical. And therefore, ourselves, when we look at it, we are very positive, we are very hopeful, and we look to the future with a lot of satisfaction that we will make sure that we have a constitution that we will keep affirming and reasserting. And that's our vanguard.